Hello there. You're here on the live career and life coaching update with Michelle Flynn of Mona Networks. Michelle, welcome to our update today.
Thank you for having me, Steph. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to have you, and it's a pleasure to talk to you about leadership as a young leader and in your company, and why it's important that kindness and core values is part of your corporate vision. Talk to me about that and why that's important to you personally and professionally.
Core values has always been something I've focused on. I was very surprised to learn that my own team, when we first started working with it, didn't actually really know what a core value was. Core values are so important within a business, especially as a leader, because it creates security and safety within the company itself, within the culture. So we focus a lot on it. Another thing you'll notice is whenever you're doing a business plan, once you've done the mission and the vision statement of a business plan, they automatically ask you what your core values are of that company. And a good working example of how core values have worked well is if you take a look at a not so startup anymore, a company called Zappos. They are known for delivering happiness. And their CEO spent years focusing on really looking at the company's core values as a whole and tweaking them throughout the year so that they could be successful and hire happy employees. So that's why for me it's super important. It keeps your staff very happy. They understand the culture when they're getting in, and then they kind of just go from there.
Yes, and let's talk about what does Mona Networks do? What's your goal as a leader with Mona Networks?
Mona Networks is, we specialize in tenant satisfaction, working with the urban professional, and we are a communication platform for commercial real estate. So we work with property managers to improve the way that they are communicating with the urban professional. And then on the flip side of it, the platform allows the urban professional to be up to date and use it as a communication channel for information that they may need to know about what's going on in their buildings in their areas.
Very exciting company to be a part of because lots of growth and lots of opportunity.
Absolutely, yes, definitely.
Tell me why, as a leader, and you've worked in other companies, why is it important that you create this culture speaking to both kindness and core values? Why do you think this is important? You work with some young millennials and people my age, but for the young team you have, why do you feel this is important?
It's very important to focus on, especially the way things are happening right now. We're finding that it's actually very hard to retain talent, especially in the technology industry, because there are so many talented people out there, and in our industry there's a lot of demand for the jobs that they're doing. So gone are the days when you can offer somebody an amazing salary and that be it. I'm finding especially younger generations are looking for more out of their workplace than just benefits and a good salary pay. They work, especially in this particular industry, the hours generally tend to be a little bit longer. We are kind of creatives, outside the box thinkers, so we're not always in the 9-to-5 work environment. So therefore you have to be able to enjoy the environment that you're coming into every day. My team will laugh. There is only one thing that I am zero tolerance on, and this even my exec team knows, in the day-to-day workings of our business, and that is gossip. And it's interesting. I'll sit down with even a senior executive and say, listen, guys, I have fired people in the past for gossip, and I will plan to do it. And they all get this look on their face where they say, well, what do you mean by gossip? And that's a great thing for me, because that allows me the opportunity to teach kindness. What do I mean by kindness? How do you treat somebody in a way that is kind? That does not necessarily mean accepting bad behavior, and I find that some of the pushback I get a little bit when you talk to people about kindness. Same thing with gossip. Sometimes there are instances where you have an issue that you need to discuss, that you need to work through, and there is a fundamental difference between gossiping and being kind but being strict at the same time.
Kindness is fairness and accountability. Good leadership has expectations. By you saying core values are important, which you've read the book Four Agreements and shared with your team recently, is what the number one is: speak impeccably with your word.
Right.
And being a kind and accountable leader. Kindness isn't weak, it's powerful.
Absolutely.
So, last but not least, what kind of environment? You bring in speakers, you make sure the environment is warm. Talk to us in summary about what kind of environment you hope to create for the company now and as Mona Networks grows.
Mona is taking a different direction in terms of empowering the industry that we are working in. We are one of the first truly mobile companies in this sector, and with that comes a lot of teamwork, a lot of research, a lot of patience. So the speakers for me, I've been very fortunate in my life to be mentored by a lot of people. I actually always say to the girls, I'm paying it forward to the founders of Mona Networks. The founders just so happen to be all gentlemen, but they spend a lot of their time investing in kindness. They invest a lot in their team. They invest a lot in the success of their team. And because when I took the position here, what really sold me on the company was their need to be impactful. They didn't just want to come up with a product that was going to make them a whole bunch of money. They wanted to be introducing a solution to an industry that had a bad reputation for being very far behind, and they wanted to do it in a way that wasn't intimidating. A lot of people, when you start to work with technology, especially if they've been in a company for 30 years and they may not be that comfortable with it, it can be a challenge for them. So that's kind of where it started. They, I would say, put the roots in the company for having those types of expectations. They lead with kindness themselves, so that filters down to the rest of us. Speakers are extremely important for me because I used to work for a gentleman that was very, very successful in business, and he always told me he would never surround himself with, or he would never hire somebody to do a job that wasn't smarter than him. That he would do himself.
Smart leader.
Yes, exactly. So he said, because really they contribute to your overall growth. And if you surround even somebody like Robin Sharma,
The monk who sold his Ferrari and the leader with no title. Yes.
Also explains that in depth and in detail as well, that when you surround yourself with intelligent people, then you make changes and you become these great leaders. So that's another thing, the reason that we bring speakers in. We bring them in from all different areas. They don't necessarily have to be technology focused. We bring them in to share their experiences, share how they got, and teach kindness, because what I'm finding is that for that 15 or 20 minutes that they're here, they inspire people in the room, which is, I feel, needed. And I always say to the speakers, I can say something 100 times myself, and someone else will come in and say the exact same thing.
It's like a husband and wife. We always look for someone else inside the home.
So it's great on that aspect as well. And the results of that have been fundamental for our team. It has inspired a new generation. Some of the stuff that our team is working on now, they have learned over the last year. They're showing me that they are not afraid to think outside the box. They're not afraid to come to us, anybody. Even they'll go to the CEO and say, listen, I'm not happy with this, or I'm not sure what my role is here and I want to be effective. So I continue to encourage that as well, because it's not very often I work for a company where the staff is comfortable talking to each other. I was laughing when we were doing the kindness program with you, Steffi, because the next day after you left, the girls came to me and said, you know, I feel kind of bad because we only had to choose 3, but I've noticed that I do about 3 or 4 or 5 acts of kindness on a regular basis.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
We skew away from what the actual plan was and include those things in there too. So it was nice to see them think outside the box, and they adapted it very well. Because if they're not going to take part, then we don't have anything to begin with anyway. So
that's right. And Michelle, I salute you as a leader who wants to bring in these character traits into the office. And as you said, we spend a lot of our time in our working lives. We should enjoy it and we should feel empowered. And Michelle Flynn recently brought in some speakers, and I got to go in and talk about the Spread the Kindness program, and you participated as a company in committing to 3 kind acts a week during the International Random Acts of Kindness Week. So for the growth of yourself and Mona Networks, I wish you continued success and that you inspire other leaders and people to follow your example on these important character traits.
Thank you very much, and I encourage everybody else to do that as well, because it does create a better working environment and employees are happier, which leads to great things for your company as a whole.
Exactly. And Michelle Flynn of Mona Networks, thank you for being with us today in today's Life and Career Corner update.
Thank you very much.